Hello everybody, it's me Wildman here, and we are back here with another Legion Dunes. Big surprise, this time tweaking it a little further, spec'd out of Harbingers, because I had decided Harbingers, while they are profitable and they're good, I felt like they slowed down the maps more than I liked, because the whole idea behind this is the most money we're getting is from the legions, so get through the legions as fast as possible, or get through the maps as fast as possible. In Harbingers, there's not too much you can do to speed them up. You're always gonna stand there shooting them for a while, and while it's decent gains, you're only getting about twice the money you put in on them. You get a lot back, but they cost the most. So I felt like they were a little anti-value for the strategy, and I wanted to put something in to replace them that the faster I go, I benefit from it. Because Harbinger, you can't go faster with them. But so instead we're doing Beyond. We're gonna use the Beyond compasses, which are about twice as much as the Harbinger compasses. Oh, let me... Eesh. We'll look at the cost now. Legion, for Sextons, we're doing Legion, obviously. We're doing Beyond, which are about 80 C. And God, they are beyond annoying to buy. It took me like 20 minutes to buy these. I'm already kind of pissed off and don't like Beyond because it took so long. Everybody's just sold or they don't respond. I feel like if you're doing this strategy, you gotta buy Beyond, and like you're probably gonna pay 100C, and you're gonna buy them in a lot larger bulk if you really don't want to pull your hair out trying to get your hands on these. Then I'm doing rare packs, just get some more monsters in there, and I'm deciding I'm gonna try out the magic monster packs. I don't really know the best applications for this compass and when it's better than other. Last time I used a pack monster sextant here with like cold monster packs, but we're gonna give this one a go. I'm pretty sure the best use for this one is like harvest, because you get a bunch more juice or something. It gives you more pack size. It's things that benefit from pack size, but I think this will benefit from pack size just in the sense that it means more monsters. So does it mean more than just another pack compass? I don't know, but I'm gonna give it a go. We'll see how the profit looks in the end. For scarabs, we're running Polished Legion. I decided to switch it up here because I noticed we get a lot of God Touched monsters in this. You always get a lot of God Touched in Legions. And the good ones benefit from rarity. And that's why you'll notice if you look at prices for like Winged Reliquary, they're very high. And you might be thinking, well, gee, what unique items are those juicers farming with those? It's not unique items they're farming, it's the God Touched monsters, because what happens is the good God Touched ones have a mod that makes them convert their items to currency items based on their rarity. So things like divine orbs, exalts, and annulments are tier 1 currencies. So if you have high rarity, you drop more divines and all that. And that's why in the last test you might notice there was a winged divination scarab that dropped from a God Touch. The reason it was winged was probably because I had enough altars that were giving me quant and rarity at that point that it boosted up that God Touch monster. So if I have Polished Reliquary and that same thing happens that it happened in the last strategy, we'll get even more gilded winged scarabs, we'll get even more divines and high tier currency drops. So that's why I'm putting this in. Maybe it ends up not being worth it, but I'm gonna give it a go and see. I'll know if I see a big pop of scarabs or a big pop of currency out of nowhere. I'll know it was a God Touched monster, and if the results are good, it was in part due to adding this reliquary scarab. If I don't see any of those, well, we know it's so uncommon that it won't happen in 28 maps, or it's just not good enough. You need a higher value scarab, at which point do we actually have enough in each map to make it worth using those? I'm not so sure. Only one way to find out. But then we'll also be running Rusted Sulfite, of course, with packed with energy and mining byproducts. And then a polished diviners. I'm going from rusted. We did rusted last time. Definitely paid itself off in fortunates. And so I'm going to try diviners this time, because not only are we still having, we're still running out the quantity to get more fortunates, but we're going to have a swarming hive to make it so that the beyond monsters are giving more divination cards too. I don't know if this like doubles up with divination, but I think we're good to go with a polished div and see how we get return on our fortunate cards. I'm hoping it's good. The goal with all of this is we should be getting a fuck ton of fortunates. We've got all these quantity nodes. We've got Seance, so a potential for some of those monsters to drop a ton. We've got Eater of Worlds giving us all this quantity. More divination cards when we get Katash. There should be a lot of fortunates. I'm hoping to see one every map. That's my hope, but we'll see how it goes. So that's the scarabs. Then we get into maps. I was rolling them to 80% quantity and then corrupting them, which means some of them got bricked with mods that I couldn't do, so I had to roll new ones. Ended up having to do 35 to get to the 28 maps. And then materials, had to use quite a few alchemies and scours to get them to that 80% quantity first, and then the Vol Orb, and then so about 5C in materials is a rough estimate. And then Legion map craft device for 6C. So between all of these, we're running around 8 divine orbs in total, which is about 1.5, I'd say, more than we did last time. So it's a bit pricier, about 10 chaos more per map, 15 chaos more. But like the returns from last time still easily cover this. So the goal is we get more. That the numbers at the bottom go up. So obviously haven't run the strategy yet, but we've got everything here ready to go, and it's time to send it. So I'll see you after we run some maps. All right, the farm is complete. We have all of our rewards organized neatly here, and I'm not gonna lie, still made profit, of course. It's pretty hard to not make profit in PoE overall, but results are a little bit on the disappointing side. Now you can peruse with your eyes what you're seeing here in terms of rewards, but I put it all nicely into a notepad. And I mean, it's not horrible. We make 12 divines profit, which is 5 divines less profit than the last strategy we did, which cost less as well. So, you know, you might see where my disappointment's coming from right here. But let's just go down the list and see what really changed. I've got the previous farm strategy pulled up on my other monitor, so we can kind of compare the similar sources of income and how they changed with this strategy versus the last one, which I only have one other video out as of now. So if you're watching this, it's not too hard to find. But so first off, we got raw currency. Last time we got 3 divines, this time we got 4 divines. That's the majority of it, but there's also, you know, the casual sextants, the vol orbs. I didn't include the chaos because it's such a small amount, but there's that too. I filter out anything that's total value is worth less than 28C. I think I include the Eldritch Eye Core too, because if you're spamming these types of maps, you're gonna end up with, I mean, you only get 5, or, you know, you don't get too many because you're getting all the quantity ones, but if you see it, you might end up with more, and they'll add up over time. I mean, these alone are worth like 30C for 5, so if you end up doing 200 maps of this, you'll have plenty to sell in bulk. You'll have divine worth for sure. But then I didn't include any of the small stuff. Veiled Chaos, none of that. All this is not included. None of these uniques or anything are included. Not that really. I mean, we got another Heat Shiver. That was kind of funny because that's not like super common, but we've got in both farm sessions so far. I got a decent quiver. It's got live projectile speed, increased damage to both, and it mirrored. I might be able, you know, this will probably sell for something. I don't know. I'll throw it in the dump tab, but we got synth with crit strike multiplier. I'm really not good at identifying items that will sell or not. Maybe this will. Venters, you can, if you sell them bulk unidentified, you can sell them for, you know, 15C at a time. The Moonstone Rings, Heartbound Loops, I like to just corrupt them and see if I get something good. If you get a good corruption on these, they're actually worth quite a good amount, but it basically is never gonna happen. I've never hit anything good. This thing, I just need it for 5 ways later, so it's actually kind of convenient. And a Windscream, I don't think they're worth shit anymore. You know, if a unique's not worth like 15C, I kind of just delete it. Sorry, economy, but so like we were doing, let's keep moving down the list. I was just touching on, well, okay, I'll touch on all the stuff that I didn't include. I didn't include any of the fossils, because even though we will end up with bulk of them, because you get a lot of fossils from Legion, it's not something like we're focusing on farming, and it's not something I prioritize selling. I don't really care about selling these. They're kind of annoying to sell, most of them. And you're not getting so many of them that it's like, oh, every, you know, 50 maps I have enough to get a divine of every kind of fossil. No, it's like you need to do more, so it's not like super reliable. I also didn't include any scarabs that are below gilded. Only included gilded, which I didn't include those in the last one. We are including them this time because I was using the Reliquary Scare with the idea of targeting God Touch monsters to cause them to drop more high tier scarabs and currencies, which, newsflash, didn't work. I think I saw, I mean, got some gilded, but it's hardly more than we had in the last farm. And I did see one God touched monster that dropped these that stood out to me. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I think we got like, I don't know, we didn't get much, but it was noticeable. Not good enough to be profitable. In terms of currency, I did see one Innocence touched monster, and after it died and I saw no loot come up from my loot filter, I held alt and I saw like some jewelers, some whetstones, and a bunch of other garbage. So in terms of the trying out polished reliquary, it's bad. It's real bad. This doesn't give you jack. So we tested it. It's not good. It's not worth running. Or if it is, it'd have to be over a much larger sample size. But I felt like, okay, I saw an Innocence touched. That's supposed to convert it to currency. I had all the altars at that time, and I had, you know, Reliquary Scarab. If that's not giving me like at least a divine orb, then fuck it. It's no good. Don't do it. Out with the Reliquary Scarabs. So didn't include anything lower than gilded because never gonna sell them. And I mean, the gilded, not really gonna sell those either, but I felt like since it's something I was trying to target, then I'll include it in the profit. But realistically, this is kind of a zero for me because I'm not gonna sell any of those. Then also, I don't include any of the smaller cards. You know, there's like a Chaotic Disposition, 5C there. There's like I don't know. There's some voids, which in bulk those sell for a decent amount. But I only include the Fortunate because that's what we're actually trying to get with our divination cards. And that's the only like big drops that we got here. We did get 17 of them, which is a little less than I was hoping. We got 15 in the last farm using a rusted divination scarab and no beyond. So now we're using polished scarab and beyond, and we only get 2 more. Come on. I was real disappointed there. It's still a little over a divine. Wait, is that right? There's no way that's right. Wait a second. Okay, so I miscalculated there, and I fixed it now. It's 660C. I messed this up in the previous video too, because I definitely, when calculating the value of the cards, because I didn't want to use the market price, because you're not selling these, you're turning them in and just getting divines, right? But I mistakenly just took the value of a divine and divided by 12 and then multiplied it by the number of cards, acting as if a full set of cards gives you 1 divine. So I was actually having the value of those cards, but I did that in the previous strategy too. So it doesn't actually change anything in terms of the relative value of doing this strategy compared to what we did before. That's the only mistake, I'm sure. Now, okay, moving on to tainted currency, because we're doing beyond, so we better damn well include this in our profit. I included all of it because, I mean, it already looks pretty bad. We're only getting 300C off of tainted currency, which, I mean, you could probably do the math here, but beyond sextants are 80C and we're getting 7 of them. 560C total spent on our beyond sextants, and we're only getting 300 in tainted currency. and really no improvement in div cards, it feels pretty bad. It doesn't help that half the maps, it feels like I go in there and I proc the Beyond boss before I even proc Eater of Worlds. Like, I'm exaggerating, but it's just, Beyond feels so bad now. I hate what they did with Beyond. Even running it makes me mad because it just makes me think the whole time, like, they really did this to Beyond every time I proc a boss and I get no Beyond monsters for the entire map, even though I'm paying 80C for it. You know, it's like, I just want to punch someone in the face. So in terms of what we're really supposed to be reflecting on with this strategy, we're learning Reliquary, bad. Beyond, bad. Polished Divination Scarab, I'm yet to be decided on that. I think I'm gonna take out the Reliquary, take out the Beyond, put in some other replacements for these that I know are good, and really see how the Polished Divination Scarab compares to when we only ran Rusted. So that's Tainted Currency for invitations. We got a Writhing, of course, but this is just the Screaming Invitation, guaranteed every time. Emblems, again, I just use the PoE Ninja prices. We got a little bit uneven again, a little less Karui, but over long term, we got pretty close to the same of all 5, and that's exactly what we want. Over long term, you're probably gonna have a little less Mariketh and Templar than the other 3, but if you're lucky, you know, they'll balance out. You can also filter these like a little more harshly. If you want, you can make it so they only show if they get like 30 splinters or something of them, and that way you'll be like cutting them off enough that they kind of stay even with the Mariketh, where like you're showing 10 splinters or maybe even less, up to you. I prefer to click less, and they're really not that worth that much. Like, this isn't a huge chunk of the profit. Emblems used to be a lot more important to Legion, so maybe if you're used to doing Legion in the past, you're used to picking up the splinters a lot more, but now you really don't need to pick them up that much. Just pick up the big stack chunks and the full emblems. I'm sure some people out there don't pick up any of the splinters and only pick up the emblems, and that's probably completely fine as well. Then stack decks, we ended up getting 150 something, 157. Pretty good, about on par with what we had last time. Last time we got 170. I think that's just random variance. I think you're gonna get the same thing every time pretty much. Which, same thing with the emblems. I think last time we got a little bit less on emblems, so that's just fine. That's not gonna be changing. Incubators also shouldn't be changing that much. We got about 30C more than last time, mostly due to we got a lot of ornates, a little more than what I would suspect is average, but we also got quite a bit fewer Kalgurin. We got basically none. We got less than 20. It's like, why are these so uncommon? But still, that's like pretty much the biggest part of our profit, especially since you'll be using the ornates, diviners if you want. I've already talked about this in the last video, why I pick up skittering. Skittering are not included in this value because they don't sell. I just use them every now and then when I run out of ornate and Kalgurin because I sell diviners. But using the ornate, you'll end up with a bunch more divines, so, you know, the whole spiel. Resonators, we got really unlucky. Really unlucky. And I can guarantee you this is unlucky, because I've been running the Sulfite Scarabs all league, so it's I've run this a ton. This is heavily on the low end. I feel dirty for even putting like 80C for resonators, as even though that's what dropped, you'll get more. But regardless, the point of the resonators is really just cover for the Sulfite Scarab. The point of running the Sulfite Scarab is to get the packed with energy, which makes you move faster, do more damage, and be a little bit tankier. It just makes the maps way faster, way easier, and you get your money back with the resonators. That's the point of it. So it's like, it still covers it even with getting a horrible return, but this isn't what we're farming anyway, but you will be able to sell it. So it's profit, whatever. Maps, we still got pretty darn good return. We got 59 dunes, so still about doubling our, yeah, a little over doubling our what we used, although I did use 35 because 7 got bricked. And we got 21 Mesa maps, and we got 2 other randoms, some God Touch dropping maps, happened to drop some 16s. Didn't include those, of course, only the Mesa and the Dunes, and I only calculated them at 4.5C each, which is a little ironic because when I calculate them for cost, I calculate at 5C. So realistically, it's a little bit more. I just go with the conservative valuation for profit. And then God Touch Scarabs is just all the gilded. And yeah, it's the gilded. That's it. And realistically, I'm not gonna sell these because like you're selling all this stuff a divination at a time and more. So why am I gonna go back and sell a gilded cartography scarab to someone for 6C? I ain't doing that. That's a waste of time. So, but, and then you have the other random junk here. This Empower, it'll sell for like 20C or something. They are a lot less than I remember them being. I thought they were worth more. There's some random catalysts and whatever. It's just junk. I like the influence scouting reports because you get some like, it takes like less than a minute to run like a shaper map or something and just get yourself a 15C fragment. Is it worth it in the end? Probably not, but if you enjoy a little change of pace, I like to collect the influence and just go through about 10 of them in 10 minutes and end up with a bunch of shaper or elder fragments, conqueror fragments. You can get all that kind of stuff. It's just something different to do, and it still makes a bit of money. So I like to keep those, but again, not part of the profit. So in order to stop droning on, total returns, we end up getting about 22 divines. Pretty close to what we had last time, although that's not counting for the factor of me calculating the divination cards for the fortunates. So I'd say it's about 20C more in the previous strategy, and it is about 30 or 40C more in terms of profit, because our profit went down a lot because our cost went up a lot. This ended up costing about 2 divines more than our previous strategy, mostly because of the Beyond. So all in all, I do not recommend. Don't run Beyond, don't run Reliquary Scarabs. They ain't good. So I'm gonna tweak. Oh, and I don't recommend the Magic Monster Pack with Sextants either. So I'm gonna go back to the tweaking room. Oh, that sounds... You know what I mean, the tinkering room. And I'm gonna tweak some things here. And try to get a little better. I think I'm just gonna completely avoid Beyond from now on though. I've tried it about 3 different times this league, doing a little bit different each time, and it is just disappointing to me. And it's so annoying to buy the Sextants too. Like, I completely love not having to buy those. It's so annoying. It took like 20 minutes to to just buy 7 Beyond Sextants because nobody wants to sell them for small amounts, and the ones that do, they sell instantly because the people who are selling them in bulk of like 50, 100 at a time are just buying it from the small people and marking it up. So it's like impossible to get a small amount because those people who have bulk don't care to sell them in small amounts. It's so annoying. So yeah, leave these alone. Fuck Beyond. Can we just do a Beyond embargo and nobody buys Beyond Sextants? That'll teach GGG something. Not that I have anything against GGG. I love this game. They've done a great job. But screw Beyond. God damn. But good luck with your farm. Hopefully this helps some of you.